Hey guys, it's Merlini with odds analysis and predictions for the December 8th Playday. And the first one that we have is RRQ versus MITH Myth Trust. And I actually tweeted who I was going to bet on. It will be RRQ for this one. The current odds are 30.70. My odds are around 35.65. Myth got 2-0 by Orange, who haven't been looking that great lately. And they also lost their other best of three in December against Mineski in a very, very big throw fest. RRQ is a team that probably nobody has heard of, but they are a team full of pub stars and apparently one ex-legend, but I don't really know that much about them. But individual skill goes a long way. Many people underrate the pub star team, such as Take 5, and on top of that, it's a best of one. So I'll be betting on RRQ here. And make sure you follow me on Twitter if you want updates. Anyways, next one that we have is Myth versus Neon. And Neon, I absolutely know nothing about. I try to Dota buff them. I try to look on the Dota news websites for news about them. I have no idea who they are, and I doubt I'll be betting on this one. You can check the Dota 2 Lounge Bet subreddit for other information and analysis from other people's, but I can't really give any information on this. I already gave you information on Myth, but I don't know anything about Neon. Absolutely zero. So next one that we have is Sigma versus Na'Vi, and yesterday Na'Vi kind of crushed them, and a lot of that had to do with the draft, something that Sigma is typically pretty good at. A lot of Sigma believers have jumped ship because it's crunch time for Na'Vi, but crunch time for Na'Vi no longer means that they are going to win. And first it was evident at TI3 where they lost the grand finals. And usually there's been this story of Na'Vi going through winner's bracket, dropping down losers bracket, and then coming back for the win. But it's been disproved time and time again. It just means they will try hard in the elimination match rather than just fool around like sometimes they do. Na'Vi lost in the quarterfinals of Dota 2 Champions League 3-2 to Sigma in an elimination match, and they also lost versus Fnatic 2-1 in an elimination match. So blind betting in Na'Vi because they'll pull through is not a good reason to bet on Na'Vi. I'm sticking very close to my odds of yesterday, which were 45-55 in favor of Na'Vi. I think it's closer to 42-58, judging by how yesterday went, because I still think it's a very close matchup. Betting on Sigma for very large value bet today, 9 for 4. So that means this bet has to this bet has to work out slightly less than 1 out of 3 times in order for it to be positive expected value. And I think that Sigma has a much better chance than what the current odds suggest, which is 31%. I think they have more like 40% chance to win. So betting on Sigma again here. And odds are typically skewed in Na'Vi versus other teams because of favoritism. So usually betting against Na'Vi is positive EV. Next one that we have is Mineski versus First Departure. I think that First Departure is a slightly stronger team even after losing to Idol yesterday. And Idol, they beat out FD pretty badly, I'd say, but FD also had a Drow Ranger pick, and VP has tried it, FD has tried it, and that pick just does not work out most of the time, and it seemed like a pretty big draft fail. Prior to that, FD were on a pretty good winning streak, 7 matches in a row, often versus teams of similar caliber. FD is also 3-3 versus Mineski, who I think is a very comparable team to they also 3-3 versus Myth. Sorry, Myth I think is very equal to Mineski in terms of skill. So this matchup is pretty much a coin flip, as the odds do suggest. If odds get skewed too much one way or another, 55-45, I'll be betting on the 45% or less team as it stands right now. And in that 45 to 55% range, then I'll be betting on First Departure. Next one that we have is Alliance versus Vici, and I'm surprised that odds yesterday were very skewed in favor of Na'Vi. 39-61 in favor of Na'Vi. Are you kidding me? Vici is just looking like nigh unstoppable lately, and Na'Vi, they're Na'Vi, but they've lost a lot of matches in the past couple of weeks. And after beating Na'Vi yesterday in pretty convincing fashion, I think that Vici has extended their tally of series wins versus tier 1 teams to 6 in a row. Na'Vi, I think IG twice, LGD China, and DK all in those mix. And Vici have not dropped a series yet versus any of those teams. Yeah, it's a best of 1, so maybe odds should be a little bit closer. But I still can't believe yesterday was 39-61 in favor of Na'Vi. That definitely should not have been like that. I mean, I like Navi too, but don't let your emotions get in the way. I think a lot of people don't want to bet on Vici because they don't know that much about them. It seems like most of the people that bet are Alliance, Navi, and DK. Those are the odds I see skewed the most. And Vici, they don't have that many fans as of yet, although they're picking up some. And I think that odds are still skewed in favor of Alliance. They should be more like 60-40 Vici, I'd say. So I'm still riding the Vici train. It's worked out very well in the past couple of weeks, and no reason to stop now when odds aren't that skewed towards Vici. Last one that we have is Fnatic versus TBD. TBD means to be determined, the winner of Sigma versus Navi. Who knows who it's going to be? I think it's going to be a pretty close match and an exciting one at that. Fnatic Navi is honestly pretty close to a coin flip. And if you look at yesterday's odds of Alliance versus Fnatic, 60-40 in favor of Alliance. If Fnatic were playing with a real 5, which I think they did for this matchup instead of the stand-in, then the odds should have been a lot closer. I'd say probably like 52-48 in favor of Alliance maybe in that matchup, but maybe people thought that Fnatic still had their stand-in. I don't really know, but odds were way too skewed for that matchup. I think that I didn't actually watch the Alliance Fnatic game, so I don't really know how strong Fnatic has been looking at this particular LAN. If this is Fnatic Navi and odds drop below 47% for each team, I'll likely bet on the underdog for better value. And I'll bet on Fnatic if it's in the 48 to 52 coin flip range. For the other side of the matchup, Sigma versus Fnatic. Sigma's actually performed pretty well versus Fnatic too. And looking up the record, they were 1-0 versus Fnatic at MLG and 2-0 in the month of October in some tournament. I don't exactly remember which. And that was when Sigma was still like a pretty big underdog, when no one knew that much about him. I think their breakout performance was really at MLG, and that was in November. So back in October, they were still developing as a team. So Sigma seems to do very well versus Fnatic, but recently they haven't been out drafting people, which I think a lot of their strength lies in. So I would probably say it's like 58-42 if it's Fnatic versus Sigma, and odds are very likely to change. And my perception odds are very likely to change after this performance, Sigma versus Navi. If Sigma continues to have poor drafting, then maybe they'll bump Fnatic up a little bit, and so on and so forth. So make sure you pay attention to that game, and make sure you also pay attention to the Reddit post if you want updates that I post after releasing the video. Thank you guys for watching Mad Rares with Merlini. I'll be back for more odds analysis predictions tomorrow, and link is in the description for the Reddit post. Thanks, guys.